Before we begin, viewer discretion is advised. The following content is grounded in sealed legal testimony and verified industry files linked to the federal probe into Sean Diddy Combs. What you are about to hear was never intended for broadcast. Until now. Courtroom. Day 31. A gray envelope was entered into sealed record just after the morning recess. No media advisory, no legal rep listed. The tab was marked with 3 initials, JJ. Inside, a personal statement from Janet Jackson. 5 pages. 1 attached. Exhibit. No co-signers, no cross-examination requested. The court classified it as a voluntary retrospective submission tied to prior pattern testimony in the Diddy investigation. No names were redacted, no dates were corrected. Her statement begins without a greeting, without a headline. Just a single line. My brother tried to warn me. I just didn't know what he meant. Not yet. It was the summer of 1998. I was between albums, working on what would eventually become All For You. I'd been at Neverland for a few days. Michael liked when I came up there, when it was just us. No handlers, no rehearsals, no noise. We weren't always close in the way people assumed, but when we were, we were. That visit, he was quieter than usual. Focused, but distant. I thought maybe it was label pressure, or something with the press. He'd been dealing with a lot, even back then. On the last night before I left, I found a note in my travel bag. Folded, not sealed. No envelope. His handwriting, neat and centered. He didn't sign it. It just said, "Not every invitation is for you. Some parties aren't about music. Don't let them dress it up like it is. There are mentors who don't teach. There are circles you don't come back from. Stay near the music. That's where we're safe." At first, I thought it was poetic, something abstract. He could be cryptic when he wanted to be. But something about the way it was folded, the way it was hidden, not handed, I knew he didn't want to explain it out loud, so I didn't ask. I tucked it in a drawer when I got home. Didn't show my team, didn't mention it in interviews, didn't even bring it up the next time I saw him. But I didn't forget it either, not even when the robe arrived. It came through. A choreographer. Not mine. Not even someone I worked with directly, just someone who floated in that same circle. He'd done work with Puff before, award shows, music videos, Fashion Week after parties. We'd bumped into each other at the Soul Train Awards after party. Nothing deep, just hugs, laughs, a few mutual friends. A week later, he called my assistant, directly. Said he had something special to run by me. No details, no press. All private. That's when the first red flag went up. You have to understand, by 1998, I didn't walk into rooms without knowing who was sitting at the table. I'd learned that the hard way, so I told her to ask questions. Who's throwing it? Why me? Who else is going? He called back and said one name. It's for Puff. He said it casually like it was just another industry invite, then added, he's curating something real. VIP only. Not just music people, visionaries, legacy makers. You should be in the room. That phrase, you should be in the room. That's how they say it. They don't tell you what's happening. They just tell you that if you're not there, you'll miss something you were never supposed to understand. I told him I'd think about it. That night, another message came. Not to my phone, not to my team. It was hand-delivered. Black envelope, unmarked, tucked under the windshield wiper of my driver's car. Inside, a single card. White linen paper, my full name printed across the top. Just below it. Welcome. To the Circle Malibu. September 5th. Dress code. Black attendance is legacy. No return address, no sender, no RSVP instruction. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew exactly who did. So I opened the drawer and pulled out Michael's note. The handwriting hadn't faded. I'd kept the note folded in a jewelry pouch, tucked behind old lyrics I never released. I don't know why I kept it so close all those years. Maybe part of me always knew I'd need to look at it again. Not just read it, really look, not. Every invitation is for you. Some parties aren't about music. Don't let them dress it up like it is. There are mentors who don't teach. There are circles you don't come back from. That last line, I'd skipped over it the first time, brushed it off as metaphor. But with that black envelope sitting on my counter, I started to hear it differently. Michael didn't speak in riddles for no reason. When he warned me, he wasn't trying to be poetic. He was scared. And now, I was starting to understand why. I called him that night. It went straight to voicemail. Then an hour later, I got a call from his assistant. He said Michael wasn't taking calls that evening, but wanted to pass along a message. It was short, just one line. She shouldn't go, not her, not Janet. That's when I froze, because I hadn't told anyone what the card said. Not the date, not the location, not the dress code. But somehow, he knew. I asked the assistant, "Did he say why?" He paused, then said something I'll never forget. Because once you walk into that house, they stop seeing you as talent. They start seeing you as an offering. He hung up. I didn't move, didn't sleep. I just stared at the envelope. Not because I wanted to go, but because now I understood exactly what I was being invited to. I didn't throw the envelope away. I should have, but I didn't. I slid it into a drawer under an old press folder from the Velvet Rope Tour Logistics. And I told myself it didn't mean anything, that it was just someone trying to pull me into something I could choose to ignore. But the universe doesn't let you look away that easy. Because 2 days later, I got a call from someone I hadn't spoken to since the Rhythm Nation days. She used to handle wardrobe for up-and-coming dancers. Quiet, smart, always professional. We'd lost touch. But now she was calling me, whispering. She didn't say hi. She just asked, "Did you get a black envelope?" I didn't answer. She said, "They're looking for more girls. He's been watching the showcases." I asked her who he was. She went silent for a full 10 seconds. She said, "You know who you almost dated?" That's when my stomach dropped. I asked her what they wanted. She said it wasn't about me, it was about who I bring with me, the dancers, the protégés, the girls who still call me Miss Jackson. Out of respect, even when they're grown. She said a list had started circulating. Unofficial, no agency attachments, just names. First names only, ages, dance styles. Some had stars next to them. I asked her if she saw it. She said yes, and that 3 of them had trained with my choreographers. That's when I felt sick, because I realized I wasn't invited to join them. I was invited to deliver them. I didn't respond, not to the envelope, not to the call, not to the whispers. I didn't say yes, but I also didn't say no out loud. I just pulled back. Canceled the youth workshop I was prepping for fall. Pushed the mentorship collab back to unscheduled. I told my team I was tired, that I needed space, that I was going off grid for a few months. But silence doesn't hide you. Not in this business. A week later, my appearance on TRL was canceled. No notice, no call. Just off the calendar. 2 days after that, my stylist got word from a brand we'd worked with for years. We're pausing on any Jackson-associated campaigns. No shade, just timing. No one said my name, no one called me out, but the red. Carpet invites started slowing. The magazine shoots dried up, and the dancers, 3 of them, were approached separately. One got a mentorship offer tied to a touring label. One got invited to a creative retreat in Calabasas. And one, barely 18, went completely silent after signing with a new management team I'd never heard of. I reached out. No answer. Her mom called me a week later and said, "She's fine. She's just in a different zone now." I knew what that meant. I've seen that zone before. It's not fame. It's something deeper, something colder. They don't disappear. They just stopped being reachable. The day before Michael passed, he called me. It wasn't a long call. He wasn't feeling, well, his voice was tired. But there was something in his tone, urgent, but gentle, like he was trying to tell me something without setting off alarms. He asked how I was feeling about the new crowd in the industry. I didn't know what he meant. I said, "It's always a new crowd, Mike." He paused, then said, "No. I mean the ones who want to be in the room but never bring any music." I thought he was being cryptic again, like he always was when he didn't want to say names over the phone, so I laughed it off. He didn't laugh back. He said, "Jan, if someone ever offers to make your life easier, just make sure it's not because they're trying to make you quieter." I didn't understand it then. But after the envelope, after the list, after the way the press froze me out without ever writing a headline, I did. That call haunted me for years. He knew. Not just about the industry, about him. Michael didn't say Diddy's name that day. He didn't have to. The last time they were in the room together back in '98, Michael left early. No press, no handshake. He said he wasn't feeling the energy. I remember asking him later what that meant. He looked at me and said, "The room had too many eyes, and none of them were watching the show." Now I understand what he was trying to warn me about. They weren't just scouting artists. They were building a system around silence, around access, around people like me, like Michael, who had the power to open doors without even knowing it. That was the last time I spoke to my brother. The warning finally made sense. It came in March 2023, not long after Cassie's case went public. Not long after the word Itwal stopped sounding like a metaphor. A cream envelope, unmarked, was left on the front gate of my Encino home. It wasn't mailed. It was placed. No postage, no return address. Inside, a single sheet, thick paper. Heavy stock. One line, typed in courier font. "You never built the stairs, but you stopped others from climbing them." There was no signature, no threat, but it felt like a receipt, a reminder. Then I turned it over. The back had 12 names. First, initials. Last names, some I hadn't heard in years, some I remembered only by face, and two I knew far too well. One had a red check mark beside it. The other was underlined. Mine wasn't on it, but next to the list, scribbled in what looked like pencil, were the words. She blocked the door. It was meant to sound like blame, but to me it felt like the highest compliment I'd ever received. Burned the envelope that night. Not out of fear, out of finality. This wasn't about closure. This was about clarity. They never wanted my voice. They wanted my reach, because when someone like me says yes, it makes 100 girls believe they should too. I never said yes. I never planned to speak. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because for years, silence felt safer. Not just for me. For the women I couldn't name. The ones who called me crying. The ones who stopped calling altogether. But watching this trial unfold. Watching the women who did go upstairs finally be believed. I realized something. I may not have been in the room, but they were watching me from the hallway. I wasn't a participant, but I was a proximity. And sometimes, that's all they need, a face, a name, a cosign. That's why I submitted the affidavit. No subpoena, no pressure. Just me, alone, writing what I never put in any diary, never said in an interview, never told a soul. Michael warned me in 1998. I didn't listen loud enough, because back then, I thought darkness wore horns. I thought evil looked obvious. But now I know better. It wears tailored suits. It offers internships. It praises your mentorship programs while using them as a scouting tool. And if you don't let them in, they find someone younger who will. This isn't just about Diddy. This is about a pipeline, a pattern, a system designed to look like opportunity until you read the fine print. I may not be able to name everyone who played a part, but I can tell you this. In 1998, I stood in a hallway and heard silence where there should have been music. In 2001, I was handed a list I was never supposed to see. And in 2023, I'm putting my name beside the women brave enough to speak before me. This is not revenge. This is record. This is the part they never